Hello everyone, welcome to SAP Technomaniac. Till now we discussed about the AMDP procedures and the AMDP table functions which we created for the CDS table functions. But we know, as I already explained in my previous video, in the AMDP framework manages the database procedures and the database functions from the ABAP itself. So AMDP procedure manages the database procedure, but AMDP functions manage the database functions. But AMDP functions, there are two types of AMDP functions, because in the database also there are two types of the functions are there. One is the scalar functions and second is the tabular functions. In same way, in ABAP also we have the two type of the table functions. One is the two type of functions. One is the AMDP table functions, second is the AMDP scalar functions. AMDP table functions further categorized in two parts, one which we create for the CDS table functions and another which we can call inside the another AMDP procedure or AMDP function. So today we will talk about the AMDP table functions for AMDP methods, and second we will talk about AMDP scalar functions, because we already discussed AMDP procedures and CDS table functions in my older videos. If you don't know, you can watch out those videos. First we will talk about the AMDP table functions for the AMDP method. So AMDP table functions, it's a name itself say that we can return a table. It's the same way CDS table functions also return one table always. This table functions, AMDP table functions also return the table functions. But in the declaration part there will be different. It's a declaration of the AMDP table functions which we are creating. We will be not using for CDS table function. Instead of we will be giving the importing and the returning parameter. One most important thing, this kind of function which we are creating with the returning parameter, which return value is type of the table, this we can't call directly in ABAP. If you try to call, what will happen, I will show you in this video. Second thing, it should have, obviously if it's a table functions, it should have always returning value, and we can't have any changing or output parameter for AMDP, this kind of AMDP table functions, and these are always read only. We can't update data in the database or change data in the database. We just can read. This is the basics about that. The most important thing about these kind of AMDP table functions, that we can't directly call this kind of table functions in our ABAP program report, but we can call these table functions inside another AMDP functions or AMDP processor. Second is the AMDP scalar functions. So return value is elementary. What is the elementary data type? The return value is always elementary data type. What is elementary data type? I also give you the definition so you can understand. The elementary data type is of fixed or variable length. It can be fixed length and variable length. That is neither structure. It can't be a structure, it can't be a table type, or it can't be a reference type. In particular, built-in ABAP types are the elementary. What is mean built-in ABAP type? The ABAP types, built-in ABAP like the B, C, decimal float, normal, F, I, integer 8, integer 4, this numerical data by P, S. You can see these are the built-in ABAP type. So these kind of the data types which we have used for that particular value, return value for the typing data type, those only we can use. Otherwise we can't use other table type or structure type in the type of returning and importing parameter. Obviously it's a function, so we can always have one return parameter that should be also elementary, and we can have the input parameter also. Obviously we can't have the changing and exporting parameter. Same way, because it is a function, it will always return one value. If you have some changing and exporting parameter, you should always use AMDP processor, not the AMDP function. And what else I have written in AMDP scalar function can be called in ABAP like a regular method and can be used as a functional method and function method call. ABAP means we can call inside the AMDP, and we can call this kind of scalar function in the report as well. It's not like the table function which we can't call in report, but these kind of functions we can call in the report as well. How to call this kind of function, that also will show in my practical video. So let's jump into the system. We'll see this both kind of functions, how it will behave in ABAP. To understand the different type of AMDPs, I have created this class ZCL different type AMDP. In this class, we will create normal AMDP processor like AMDP table function, AMDP scalar function, or maybe I add some CDS table function as well. So it depends again on the time. First, we will try the purpose of this class. I want to explain you how the AMDP table function and how AMDP scalar functions work in the ABAP, and AMDP procedures and AMDP CDS table function, which we already discussed in my previous videos. I will try to add those as well, but just to let's start. I didn't do much in this till now. Just to save the time, what I did, I created two types. This time I have used the flight model. In this we have two tables. One is the SCAR table. I just want to show you some data in SCAR table. SCAR table having all the detail of that flight. What is the carrier ID and what is the carrier name, the company name, what currency it deal with, and what is the URL for that particular company. These all are the different airlines companies are there. For those companies we have detail in SCAR table, and another table we have SPLI, which will give you the detail of the flight. You might know already just what is the carrier ID, for which carrier ID, what is the connection ID, where to where it is going, what time it is going, from where, which city it is going, to which city it is going, what time it is, departure time, arrival time, everything information it is we are having. This is about the flight model. So first I am getting the data from the SCAR table and SPFLI table, and in second table I got some more information about the SPFLI based on the first requirement. I will tell you what is exactly we want. So first I will create the simple table function, AMDP table function, to get this detail. I want to get the carrier ID. I want to get the detail of flight, what is the connection ID, what is where it is carrying from, and which city it is going to. Since the carrier name we don't have in the SPFLI table, so we will join the SCAR table and we will try to get this data from the two table. So let me create the simple AMDP table function. So AMDP table function. So for that, let me create one class method, not data. So I want to always import one variable, as I always import class methods name. You have to give first get SCAR underscore SPFLI underscore. I just want to make sure give some meaningful names of what we are doing, what we are creating, the table function. Table function. This is table function we are creating, not the normal procedure we are creating. So one table function we saw in the CDS table function, which we are when we create that type of table function, we have to write 4 CDS table function like that. We have to write something 4 CDS table function. We have to use the syntax. But in this case, we are not creating for the CDS table function. We are creating the table function is like a normal table function which will return a table. In this way, we will be having the importing parameter also and exporting parameter also. For the table function, that will be CDS table function that will be derived from the CDS table function itself. So in this CDS table function it will be derived from the CDS itself, CDS entity itself. But in this case, we don't have any CDS entity. We will be independently creating the AMDP table function. So we will be importing. So we have to use value operator because we have to pass by value. I want to get first mandate, and this type should be mandate, MNDT, and value operator, and this will I want to get what else. I want to get the, I think, connection ID, carrier ID I want to get. So this particular field I want to get carrier ID. Based on that I can get the face the data for which carrier ID you want to, carrier ID, and that should be type of carrier ID. That is correct. And I want to export some value. Exporting, in this case, what I want to export? In this case, I want to export this table. ET, Control C, ET, Control V I can do, and this time let me give some meaningful name, this ET, and this should type of Control V, this table type. I want to get this much data and I want to read. Psi mandate, not something else, and CARR ID, correct? So what it is saying, care ID, CARR ID, I can use the table name also, SPFLI, this CARR ID. So now it is telling, I hope it will tell the implementation is missing. Simple, you have to click on Control 1, create the implementation for this particular method. So this is the table function, not the procedure. So we have to write by database, not procedure. We have to write the function, and by database function for HANA for HDB, and which language? Language is a SQL script. It came automatically. Okay. So since it is a table function, so we have, as I already explained, table function always return the table. So return table, so we have to return something. So before returning, we have to get something. So get the data, select. I want to use two table, I know. So you can use using SPFLI and SCAR. These two table I want to use. So I want to get the data from the from the SCAR table. I want to get the carrier ID. So SCA in short form I can use dot carrier ID, CARID. And from other field, what I want to get, so these carrier name, sorry, Control Alt Shift A. Let me copy this, all the things I want to get this detail, Control C, and you can copy Alt Shift A. You want to copy the vertically in Eclipse, you have to do Alt Shift A, then you have to select, and again you want to paste vertically, Control VU, it will be pasted vertically, but you have to make sure that the name, you should have some enough space over here. Alt Shift A again I have to do, and I should have enough space, then Alt Shift A, and I want to paste vertically, it pasted vertically. Alt Shift A again I have to click, then it will come, it will select now in the horizontally instead of vertically. This is advantage. So I want to get the data from this other data, I want to get from the SPFLI. So I can write SP in sorted form, SP dot, alias name I will give SP dot and SP dot, and this will be SCAR, then SC I can use in the sorter form, and is I don't want to write because I'm using directly the names, comma separated lists. From which table you want to select? From SCAR table, or I can select from SPLI and then join. So from SPFLI is SC is SP, and inner join, no, it should be available, I can use inner join, always it will be available, inner join with SCAR table. SCAR is a SC, and on which condition you want to join, you have to always give here mandate. That's a very mandate, SC dot mandate should be equal to insert equal to SP dot mandate, and one another field which we want to equate, that is a carrier ID, which SC dot, if you do control space you will get the help, carrier ID equal to SP dot Here also you will get again help career ID. So I got these 4 fields, and what I want to do else, I got this data from this table. I have to, I can use order by to sort the data, con ID, city from. If you want to sort, that is fine. If you don't want to sort, that is also fine. C, control V, control C, control V. So I have sorted. So it will say the return is missing. And one more thing, since it is a table function, it should be read only. We have to write the option as well. Options, read only. So either you can write here or you can write here as well. AMDP options. And what it is telling, contain the database function, which means cannot be defined using a exporting. So this is again one important thing. Since it is the table function, it should be returning, not exporting. So that's a very important thing. It should be returning. And since it is the table function, if it is processor, we can use exporting. But in this case, it's a table function. It should return only one value. That table should be this one. And again, options read only. What I was telling, you can give those options here also. AMDP options, and you can use read only here as well. If you use here, no need to give here, you will not get error. So that's your choice where to use. Okay, that I have already explained how to use AMDP options, and one how to pass the CDS underscore client at the database level in my previous videos. If you don't know, you can watch out those videos. Okay, and what else error we are getting? Return is missing, I think so. So we have to return this value, return, and then no error. Except F1, I can do control F3. I got the data, I sorted, I did the inner join, I based on this one, and I got the data. Now what I will do, I will create a program. I will try to call directly this table function in my program. As I told you, we can't call, but if you call, what will happen, that we will see. Let me create one new program. So for creating new program, you have to right click over here, your package where you want to create a new ABAP program, other repository object, and you can write program I want to create, and ABAP program you have to select. You have to give the appropriate name, z underscore different. I can use diff type AMDP. Like that, I can give some name. I can copy same as a description, click on next button and select appropriate TR and finish it up. It will create the normal ABAP program. Let me minimize it. Let me open this program parallelly. So I have already one simple template created. So I usually use this template whenever I do the demo programs. It's basically what it is doing. We have one start of select one local class demo. Inside that we have one main method, and that is a static main method which we are calling directly in the start of selection. So whatever we do here, so basically we have to write call that will be called from our program. So what I want to do now, so always first thing you have to make sure whenever you are calling the AMDP, you have to make sure that your database support AMDP or not. That I don't want to explain again and again. That I have already showed you how to validate the database, your database support AMDP or not. In this directly I will try to call this particular get scar spli table. So what I will do, since it is a public method and I have activated this one, control F3, and I will directly call from this class control C and control V, control space I will do, shift enter I will do. I will be able to call the I have to pass one more thing. I think I didn't pass here where condition. We have to pass the where as well. So otherwise the data will be not filtered. We will get all the data from the system that we don't want, that we don't want, obviously. So what I will do, I will pass here. So as the mandate field should be selected, so as C dot mandate should equal to our importing parameter IB mandate, and second condition, because I want to get the data from the current client, and carrier ID should be equal to control space carrier ID which we are passing from. So this is the where condition we have to apply, and we are returning, this will return always one table, we are returning this table. Let me activate again, control F3. Here it will no differ. Let me pass the SI mandate. Let me do little bit here and there so you can see properly all the data. SI mandate MNDT carrier ID we have to pass. I will pass directly here some constant you can get from the selection screen, you if you want, or you can get you can use CL demo class to get the data. That I don't want to do. I just want it. You can get from the selection screen. If you want to pass as a variable, that also you can create like this. Also you can do data data LV underscore care ID type SP FLI care ID value, default value I have passed A, and I can use this directly, control C instead of using the constant, control V to get the data, control shift greater than, I can do again data, and I can get IT out, and I can display this data CL underscore demo demo underscore output, control space I can do output, and I can display the table which I got. Control C, control V. Since it is the table function, one more they shift F1. I can write this way also, and I can write there is a function how we call the functional method. There is a different way directly we can get, that is we can get directly in the value and just pass those two value in the comma separated list. Like that function call we can do functional method, we call those things. This is also functional method only, same way also we can call because it's receiving some value. Shift F1, let me activate, but the thing is that let me put it will not trigger this one. I know, I already know, because we can't call directly CDS table function in our ABAP program. Even there is, we are not getting directly any error over here. And one more thing I want to tell, for the table functions you can't raise try catch block also. There is no exception handling for the functions, only the exception handling done for the procedures, not for the functions. If you use try catch and the CX AMDP error class is there, which is used for the AMDP related exception, if you want to case the AMDP related exceptions. But in this case, if I do try and try also, that will not work, because for the functions there is no AMDP related exceptions are not there, only for the procedures there are. Let me do control F3, and let me do control F3. It got activated. Let me do F9. I will get dump. If you want to see the dump in the ABAP environment, you can do F8 instead of F9. So in this case, it will open one GUI session, and there it will get fail. In that case, we will see the dump instead of in the Eclipse environment. Eclipse environment, whenever we get the dump, there one small pop-up come at the right corner. It came previously behind my video, might be you were not able to see. You have to just click on that and you will see that dump. And in this case, if I did F8, now new GUI session will open and it will try to execute the program, but again we will get the dump. I know, I just want to show you that dump in this one. Again we got the dump, just telling that call method AMDP function call illegal. We can't call the AMDP table functions directly from the ABAP. This is the functional description, or we don't have any try-catch error. This is a programming error, we can say. We can't handle this kind of things using the try-catch error also. So what to do? I want to call this particular method. Simple. What you have to do? Make this method is a private method. Can I do like this? Control 1. Make the scale private. You can see make get scale SPFLI table function for the function private. So I, instead of the public method, it's shifted to the private method now. You can see. And this private method, so I don't want to call this function from the program, but I can call this function in another AMDP procedure or function. So let me create one another. Normally we have called, now we are calling create a program and call inside the procedure this table function. So I wrote already what all are the point needs to be explained. So I tried to call in the program, we got the dump, and now we call this particular function using another AMDP procedure. So same thing, most of the things are same. Control C I can say, and the method name I have to change. Instead of the table function table procedure, I can write procedure. I can write table is not required, and instead of returning this time it should be exporting, because returning will not support the procedure. This is again one thing I already explained in the theory sessions, previous session. Just we are doing all the practical things, we are saying one by one. It will say I want to get this one, and I want to return this one. The other things will intact. Let me create the implementation. Control 1, add implementation for this particular. So we got the implementation. What I have to do this time again by database procedure. Let me remove unnecessary space, so we can see a lot of things together. So I want to get the scar. What I want to get by database this time functions, not functions, procedure I want to create. For HANA database I want to create, and for language will be the SQL script. Obviously language will be SQL script. And this time what we can do, we have to use this time using, instead of using that Control C, Control V, instead of using those tables, I want to call this particular method of this particular class inside my method. So this is the using we have to use. Let me decrease this one little bit. This is not required as of now, you can see. So you know, and now it will tell there is an implementation missing, there can't be empty body. Since it is a table function, we can't directly call like call statement. Let me try to call with the call statement first. What will happen? We will see. Since it is SQL script, it should give some syntax error. Call Control V, and to convert in the uppercase we have to use Control Shift X, and let me do Control space. We are getting help. Shift Enter I will do. This method will be called. In this case, if I want to use like ABAP, in this case what I have to do, I have to call like this Control V, and I have to pass this value, and Control C, I have to pass this one Control V, Control V, and because importing and exporting parameters are same, like that I have to call if I want to call with the call statement. But I am getting the syntax error. What is this error? Call. This is the call, this one particular table function. Control space. Let me do again. Give me 1 second. Control space. Control space I will do. Control space. What is the error? Oh, I can't call like this, like that. He is telling Control Z. I can't call like this, then what is the error here? Incorrect clause here. Okay, let me remove this one. Then what is the error it is telling? It is telling like this: the invalid name of function or procedure cannot be executed in the call statement. As I told you, we can't call using this particular function using the call statement. So what we have to do is always the table function will be called in the select statement in the SQL script. So for that, what I have to write, instead of calling like this, I have to write select. I want to select all from where I want to select. I want to select from this. Like this, I have to do Control C, Control V. I want to select from this one. I want to close this one, and I think that's it. And I want to get this value inside our result. So that will be Control C, Control V. I think now it should work. Select from this table function. Alt Shift A will work here. Vertically select, tab, 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 tab. So like that way we can do a lot of things. Shift F1. I'm getting some error. Alt Shift A. Shift F1. I think there is no error. Let me activate this one. Control F3. So this is the way we can call the table function. See, this is the AMDP table function inside another processor. This is the way we can't call using the call statement. That's a very important thing. And now what I will do, instead of calling this method, now I can't call this method. Control F. If I do Control F3 here, and if I try to do Control F3 my program, it should give some error. I can see some problems are there. If you open the error log, you can see those problems as well. This will say definitely that this particular method you call now, syntax error in the program, G different type. What is the error? I think we are calling the private method. That is the reason, that is the error it is giving. So let me call, instead of this private method, let me call this Control C and Control V. And exporting, importing parameter will be same. And in this time, instead of receiving, we are getting importing. That's it. I think that will work. Control F3. And let me do F9 to see the result, how the result look like. F9. So you can see you got the data for American Airlines AAA, and from New York City to, it is going 0017 and 0068. I just want to see the data in the SPFLI table also. Filter out on the A, quick filter on the A. There is only two data only, which we got the data correctly. That means. So this is the way, if you created one table function, you can't call directly in the program. You have to call in another table function like that. But the important thing there, that you can use directly in your select statement, that particular table function. You can see I'm getting select from this particular table function. That's a very important thing. I got the data and I displayed, I used this table function in this one. It's not for the, this is mainly useful if some database table functions are there available and you want to consume in your ABAP. That time this is very useful. Those table function you can't call directly using the call statement. And you have to call like this. You have to use select statement and you have to call those table functions. Generally, the table function we don't require. We directly go and create the processors. Why we have to create the table functions? We have the importing, exporting parameter. We have created the table function. Now what we will do? We will create one scalar function. So create one scalar table function. We will get the maximum flight time for that particular care ID. So again, I will create one function, method, class, this time method, and get max flight time, FL time. I can write underscore scalar function to see what is the function name, and I as I told you, for the scalar function, we can have only the elementary type data type for importing and returning both. Since it is table function, we should have returning instead of exporting. So importing, this is valid, and this both are valid because both are the type of scalar only, not any table type. So if you see, scalar means both are elementary data type. If you go and see what is the care ID type, if you do F2, and it will be ultimately correct care 3, and if you do F2 in the mandate, ultimately it is again care 3, CLNT3. So no issue. These both are the elementary data type. You can't put some tabular type or reference type here, and here exporting, again it will not work. I have to do returning value. What value I want to return? The returning value will be ET FLT flight FLT max time, max underscore time. This is the thing I have to return. This type should be SPLI control space. So time should be there, care ID, con ID, departure time, distance, departure time, flight time, FLT time we have to get. What is the flight duration? Let me write down FLT time. So this time I have to get, and let me close with this one. I have to implement. Let me do control 1, add implementation for this one. So it got added, and now what I want to do, again this is this is table function. I have to create, so I have to write down like this, by control Z. I have to put insert keyword, control Z, by database function. And for which database I want to create? For HANA database I want to create. Which language you want to use? I want to use SQL script language. And which table I want to use is this time SPFLI. From this table only I will get the data. So this time what will be the select query? My select, I want to max number. I want to get the max of flight time. FL, the field value, field is the, again I have to see. So this is the field, FL time, and I have to close this one. This one, from where I have to get? From SPFLI, where I want to pass the IV, where the mandate equal to, this is same. So I have already passed somewhere. Here I have used alias name. I don't want to use mandate equal to IV, control space you can do, IV mandate. And one more thing, I want to use the carrier ID, CA, control space, carrier ID I want to pass equal to IV underscore carrier ID. Let me get this value, single value only. So into, I can use into here as well, into, and I can use control space into, what is the value I want to get? Select from this one. I want to get into control C, control V. I think it should work. Into here is not working. Control X. Max time, here it will work. What is the syntax error now? I'm getting must database function must be read only. So we have to put this database options, because this is database functions. So I have to write options read only. Now it is working. So it's a here we have to write into here. So this is again SQL script syntax. So a lot of things are new for me as well. So we are getting the data inside this one, and this is the maximum data I am getting. And one more way we can get, I think we can get this value directly here as well. Control C, let me try that way also. This and Control Shift less than I do. How it will work in this time? Scalar type not allowed here. So for the scalar type function, you have to use like this only. So this again I have tried only, but generally we have to use like this only. If you have a scalar type function, you have to get the directly value, because you will get always elementary data type. As I told you, there will be single value, so that is the reason they are using the select statement like this. Let me do Shift F1 and Control F3, and like that we can call the we can create the scalar function directly. Now what I will do, I will use this scalar. What is the use of the creating the scalar functions? So if I want to call directly in the ABAP, there is no use. I can call, not an issue. If you want to call that function, suppose I want to call like this, Control C, Control V, and Control space, get max something is there, Shift Enter, and I can get this one, Control C. Let me decrease this size so we can see all the things. Control V and carrier ID, Control C, Control V, data, LB, max time, something, receiving, Control Shift greater than, and Control C, Control V, Shift F1, Control F3. Let me do F9. So you can go V361 we have got, that is the maximum flight time from all the flight time. This is the not use of the scalar functions. So if you want to call the scalar function, you should not call like this. Why we create the scalar function? So we can call like a class functional method in the any position, in the where condition we can call, like for example. So I will try to do that one. First we will do in the SQL script, then we will do in ABAP as well. So what I will do, I will create one another procedure where I will call this particular scalar function, and I will try to consume this scalar function inside the select statement itself. So how we can do? So that is the reason I have told SQL scalar function, table function inside the procedure I want to consume. So for that I have to create one more method, class method. This time, so let me copy paste, Control C again. Just I have to rename. So most of the things are same, but this time instead of returning I have exporting, and this time this type is it's not a single value, it will be table type. So we have somewhere table, Control C and Control V, and the mandate I want to get, obviously I want to change the name. I want to get the get flight detail, max flight time. By max flight time I want to pass max FL time, like that I can pass. I'm passing the mandate again, carrier ID again, but this time I want to get only this detail, carrier ID, cone ID, city from city to, and flight time. So I will use this one, TT SPFLI, Control C by max time. So this is again I have to use Control V, and it will say this particular is not implemented. Let me do Control 1 and do the Control 1 and do the implementation, add implementation for this method. And in this implementation what I will do, I have to get the data. So I have to get the result inside this one where it went. Too much data is there. So this one we are using get flight detail. So I want to get this data, Control C, and I want to get this data. So how I want to get? Let me select some of the data. I want to get the data from the SPLI only. As select, what all are the fields I want to select? Again I can use this one. These all the fields I want to select. Alt Shift A and copy those fields. Copy, Control C, Alt, and come down. I want to select from here. Enter, 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 and these field I want to select. Control V, Alt Shift A again I can click. Okay, Now it converted to vertical selection. I want to select this field, care ID, comma, cone ID, city from city to, and flight time. From which table you want to select? I want to select from SPFLI. So I have to use, first I have to convert this function to the by database processor, not function, for HANA database, and language I want to use SQL script. One thing you might have noticed, yeah, for the functions it will always SQL script. For processors it is giving us option what language you want to use. Actually we can put AL language also, that is low level language SAP uses to create the database processors. That also I have told in my previous videos. Okay, and not only that thing, one thing, if you are creating for other database in future, suppose some other database also support the AMDPs, there also you have to change this also, and then language also as per the database. And from SPFLI, so I have to using obviously, and using SPFLI and Control C, Control V, where I have to use where condition, obviously, where IV mandate equal to IV mandate, and we have to pass one more condition, and this will be the FL time, and this we have to get from the this particular method. What the name? This one method, and the class name is this one, so it should be like this one. Control C, and since we are using this function, we have to use in using the statement. Let me increase little bit this one, and we have to call this particular Control V, call this particular function Control Shift X, and when we are calling this one, we have to pass two things. Control space, there is something is there, help is there, IV underscore mandate equal to, we have to pass this IV underscore mandate C, and Control V, and second thing comma, we have to pass the Control space IV underscore care ID, we have to pass, I think so, care ID. This should be equal to IV care ID. Control C, Control V, and let me close it out and close this one. Let me see, there is some error. I think there should be always syntax error. What is the error I am getting this time? There is error near equal to sign. Let me call this one and see how it will be called. If I will call normally this particular, then I will compare with that one, Control Shift less than. So what I will do, I will use the call statement, call this particular function, Control C, Control V. Let me do Control space and get the Control Shift enter. So okay, we always use like this. That is the error. Not equal to sign like ABAP. So like that you can get the help and you can do the things. Control Shift greater than. Let me do Shift F1. Okay, it is correct now. Let me do Control F3. Now what I am doing, I'm getting the max time from this particular flight, and then I'm getting data. Let me consume this particular function module, this particular method also in the ABAP report, and show you what data we are getting. So for that, what I have to do, again, I have to call this particular processor in the ABAP. Let me decrease this size, and let me call this again, this static method only, Control C, Control V, and this time Control space I will do get flight by this one, and let me pass the Control C, Control V, and LV carried, Control C, Control V, and we will do Control Shift greater than, and data we will get here, data IT underscore out, or some table you can give. Control C, inline declaration anyway, Control V, Shift F1, Control F3. I'm getting some error. What it is saying? Obscure global same name. Okay, I have already declared, so I can IT underscore SPFLI I can give. SPFLI. This is not declared. Control C, Control V, Control F3. Let me do F9. F9. So I got only one entry with the where the flight time is 361. You can see if there are multiple entry with this flight time, I would have got multiple entries with that file. In this for this airline, I can see the 2 entries only. Let me see some other airline we have multiple entries or not. So let me use SQ or remove this filter, and based on this one I can see the distinct values, how many. So LH is having more entries. Let me pass LH instead of this one. Let me pass LH here. LH, shift F1, Lufthansa, Control F3. Let me do F9. Still we have one entry only with this flight time. Flight time always will be that's not like vary. So in this case 4:55 flight time, we have only one flight with this connection ID, which is flying from this one to this one. Okay. So like that we can call the scalar function. Basically I want to tell how you can call the scalar function in your SQL script. In the same way we can call this scalar function in ABAP as well. Now instead of calling directly this particular select statement through the MDP procedure, we call this scalar function directly in our select statement, in ABAP select statement, instead of in native SQL. So what I will do, I will write the select and this care ID, these 4 field I want to copy. Alt Shift A again I will use, Control C, I'll then enter, then Control V. Again I will use Alt Shift A. What is this? Alt Shift A. Control Shift A I clicked. Sorry guys. Alt Shift A, and I want to use the care ID, phone ID, CT form. Alt Shift A. Alt Shift A. I think Alt Shift A. I think syntax was changed. Flight time. These data I want to get from where I want to get from. This will be the SPFLI. This will very simple. It's ABAP only. That's the reason. So where I have to pass here. No need to pass the client. Implicit client handling will happen, but we have to pass care ID. Care ID equal to LV underscore @ we have to use LV underscore care ID. How much confident when we write the code in ABAP. Here in the SQL script, we have to do a lot of things. FL time, because we are habitual. Control V, and we have to call this time the method. So how to call the, like normally we call the functional method. Now in the ABAP, to get this value, I can call this value, and I can call directly the method, Shift F1, and I can pass IMandate here. AMDT, and I can pass this LV carrier directly here. Control C, Control V, something else. Let me close this with the dot button, Shift F1. Let me see, we are getting some error. What error we got? Into close. Obviously, we have to put into close. I want to get data into data. I want to get IT result. This time I will give some different name. Result. Shift F1, Control F3, and we will execute. We will display this data also and display this data also. Before that, let me clear out the console. So what I will do? First, I will. I am getting some error. What is this? What it is telling? And method is select from table. I have to do obviously into table. Sorry, into table. Now I will not get. I know. Control Alt arrow down button, and this first we will write. We will get the data from the our AMDP function. Our AMDP processor, and then we will get our from the normal statement, and we will see the difference. Before that, let me clear out the console. I already cleared out. Let me do Control F3 and let me do F9. I hope this should work. Yeah, we got the same result. I did some mistake, so I have used this result. I have to display. Control V, Shift F1. Let me increase this size. You can see the guys. So previously I displayed ITSPLI though 2 times. Control F3. Let me do F9 now. This time I should get the same result. So still we are getting the same result. There is no issue with the result. So like that we can call the scalar table function, scalar table function directly from ABAP as well. So this is the use of the scalar table function. We usually call like this, not like a normal method we call. If we created some scalar function, or we call like normal function method, functional method, how we call. This is the way we can use in where condition, we can use in having clause, somewhere we can call, and we try to consume those kind of things. I know this video was pretty long. We have learned about the functions, scalar functions and tabular function, how to create through AMDP, and how to consume inside the SQL script as well, in the ABAP as well. This I took reference from the one of the demo program, and I tried to explain all the things. I would have shown you directly in the demo program but that was not this much interactive. That is the reason I did programming, and I showed you what all are the things we will get and what all are the issues we will get during we do the code. That's very important to show you guys. And we finally created the scalar and tabular function, and we are consumed as well. I hope you liked this video. Before going to next video, please click on thumbs up button. If you have something to share the knowledge, you write it down in comment section. And with that, thank you and happy learning.